Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fireball with Ashleigh Mayfield. Before we dive in, make sure you grab your smartphone and share this episode on all of your platforms. Make sure you tag me because I love to know who is tuning in. Now, let's buckle up and brace for impact. Welcome back to another episode where we're going to dive in and answer your question. I love when you guys message me and ask me questions, things that like practical things that I can actually bring or things that I can answer on the podcast. So feel free to reach out to me on any of my platforms and ask me a question and just title it podcast. And that way I'll know. But here's a question that was recently asked to me. Why do I throw in the towel when things get hard? How many of you have ever done that? If you've listened to like any of my episodes, I've told you that that's who I used to be. And so I kind of want to just dive in and talk about what is the success cycle? Okay, yes, we know we need motivation. Yes, we know that we need this, we need that. But what is the success cycle? If you hear us talk a lot about vision and personal development and why you growing yourself matters, it's because of the freaking success cycle. Okay, so I want to break down 4 things that typically happen whenever you are starting to level up. You're starting to go to the next level. You're starting to step out and take a leap of faith. You're going to elevate in your life. You're going to level up, whatever. Okay, there's 4 things that are going to happen. Typically, you get an idea. You're going to act on the idea. You're going to break down about the idea. And then you're going to walk in victory with that idea. Okay? 4 things. Let me go through them again. You get an idea. You act on the idea. You have a breakdown about the idea. And then you usually have victory around the idea. Okay? So we've all done this, right? We've all had an idea about something. We allowed it to just, fester in our brain, fester in our brain, ruminate in our head over and over and over and over and over. We get this idea. In fact, oftentimes I find typically for high achieving people, we're chewing on an idea prior to us just jumping in, especially if you're like fresh to entrepreneurship. You might not trust yourself as much. You might have a lot of irrational thoughts, doubts, fears. You're led by your emotion. You haven't learned a lot about yourself yet. And so you typically have this idea playing through your head over and over and over. That's usually not going to trip you up, right? You're either going to do it, you're not. The choice is yours, whatever. When you start acting on an idea and you have a breakdown about the idea, that's when things get tricky. So let me walk you through what happened to me 5 years ago. I had this idea that I wanted to walk away from my full-time job and I wanted full autonomy. Didn't want anyone to control me. Didn't want anyone to own my time. I had no idea what I was going to do, except I knew that I was good at hustling, okay? My husband often says money finds its way to me. I knew that I was going to find a way to make a buck. And I had some different ideas of things that I was dabbling in on how I could do that. But I sat on this idea for 18 months before I acted on it, okay? It was only hurting myself. It's fine. I'm not here to talk about that part of the success cycle though, because I want to answer why do we throw in the towel when things get hard. So then I acted on the idea. This is the second stage of the success cycle. I acted on the idea. And when I started acting on the idea, well, it didn't go as well as I thought it did. Like there was a honeymoon phase and it was exciting and I had ignorance on fire. And, I put in my 2-week notice at my job. And then 6 weeks later, I started an online business and I was doing other things on the side. And my husband started doing things on the side. And I definitely had like a holy crap moment where I started second guessing. And a lot of times that happens when we start acting on the idea. We're like, holy crap, what did I get myself into? Holy crap, I think I'm drowning. I think I bit off more than I could chew. And we start almost talking ourselves out of it. That can be different than the breakdown phase because I had to go through like where I acted on it. And yes, there were some good things that happened too, but there was also some things that came against me. How many of you know, like the world is going to come against you, right? I had some opposition. Well, then the breakdown phase happened. And that's when you're going through a breakdown, even though you know you want to get your goals, these 2 stages, like if you can get through the acting on it and the breakdown, you're going to walk in victory. You're going to walk in success. You're going to walk in expansion. You're going to walk on that level that you've mastered it, right? Like job well done, you've arrived, okay? But that breakdown phase, like a lot of us don't talk about it. Every single level has it. I can tell you, I just walked through it in something in my own personal life like weeks ago. Okay, this was recent. Okay, and I got to this point where everything on the inside of me told me I couldn't do it. Now, I looked at my history. I knew my history. I was like, I'm not going to set myself up for failure. Like, I know I can trust myself. I have a proven track record, but it didn't matter how much I saw all the positive. I was so overwhelmed on a mentally, emotionally, physical level. I was just, everything on the inside of me was trying to stop me. Everything on the inside of me was like trying to suppress me and keep me down. And these two levels will take you out. So why do you throw in the towel when things get hard? Well, a lot of times it's because you lack vision. And so going back to, this is why it's so important you're doing personal development. And I really just want to connect the dots here with you for a second. If you are not doing personal development, if you don't have a vision board, if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, if you don't have a certain standard in which you operate, you're going to forget. And when you start acting on your idea and you go through the breakdown phase of your idea, you're supposed to be broken down. You're supposed to go through hardship. There's supposed to be detours. You see, a lot of us take that as signs as we're heading in the wrong direction. Au contraire, my friend, au contraire. That means you're heading in the right direction. You are like a muscle. You are a muscle. You have to be broken down to get strength to be built back bigger and better, right? And so when you are going through this breakdown phase, when you are exiting a level in your life and you are entering a new level, a new phase, a new dimension, a new growth cycle in your life, a new mountain you're trying to climb, there's going to be a moment where you feel like you are drowning. You feel like nothing's going right. You feel like this is your sign from God. You're literally going to say, is this God showing me that I shouldn't do it? And you have to silence the voice and take a step. I don't know any other like softer way to say it. You need to learn to shut yourself up and keep going, even if it's minimum effort. But a lot of the way that we're able to do that is if we go back to why we started. What is our vision? Why are we doing the things that we're doing? So if you're finding yourself in a position where it's so easy to throw in the towel, it's because you don't have any foundation. You don't have any standard that you conduct yourself. You don't have any, no, I'm going to see this through. Come hell or high water. If I fall flat on my face, I am still going to make sure that I do this because I'm learning a lesson. And a lot of times we throw in the towel when we feel like it's not working, or when we feel uncomfortable, or when it feels bad. Your process, part of the success cycle is it's going to feel bad. There's going to be moments that feel wrong. I am not, don't misconstrue my words. I'm not talking about like lacking integrity or character. That's not what I'm talking about at all. But what I am talking about is there's going to be moments where like to the depths of your soul, you feel rattled. And I'm telling you, that is your like brain trying to play safe. And every time I've ever been there, I just knew, trust the process, keep going, trust the process, keep going, trust the process. I literally had to keep telling myself that because I knew if I just kept taking a step, eventually I would see victory. And a lot of times we're doing it blind. But it's so important that we're doing the personal development. This is why we talk about it in the entrepreneurship space. It's so important you're growing yourself. It's so important that you have vision boards and you know what you're running towards, because when you get overwhelmed, every single thought on the inside of you will become irrational. And if you can't bring yourself back to ground zero, you can't plant your feet on the ground, you don't have a standard and a foundation in which you can rest upon, you're gonna be taken out every single time. Like you're never gonna cross your finish line. You're never gonna achieve your dreams, right? That's not the way you wanna live, okay? But here's the deal. A lot of people don't tell you that vision is messy. Vision is messy. You keep throwing in the towel because you want it to be easy. You don't wanna push through the suck. You don't wanna learn the skill set that you need in order, because here's the deal. The success cycle, it's the same at all levels. You go through a breakdown on every single level. And if you just think everything's hunky-dory, my friend, you're never going anywhere. You're going to stay very basic your entire life. And I hope you enjoy working for someone who's living their dream, because that's where you're going to be destined to, right? But we have to remember that this vision, as much as I would love vision to be clear, I value clarity. I value knowing where I'm going, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love all of that stuff, but I can't tell you how many times in my success cycle that during my breakdown, vision was not clear. Like, it was not clear. I had to phone a friend. I can't even tell you how many times I've cried to my husband. I don't think I have what it takes. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I offer any value. I don't think anyone's going to follow. I don't think anyone's listening. These irrational thoughts come out of nowhere and they're so debilitating. They're so overwhelming. And I have to trust the process. Vision is muddy. Vision is messy. Vision is going to stretch you. It's that muscle, you guys, in the gym. And I don't even understand exercise analogies because I hate exercising, but I do row. It's just, you have to tear it. You have to get torn. You have to get broken. It's like that seed that gets planted. It feels so dark and alone. And if you're going through a part of your process where you're like, I just feel alone and this sucks, keep going. Don't throw in the towel because you're going to start back at zero. You're going to have to go through this phase again. And we all know, I say it all the time, the start, stop, that does not serve you. That doesn't serve you. You've got to stay on it. And so you've got to find that part of vision where I gave this example the other day. Think about a cup, okay? Imagine a cup that's has an inch of orange juice left. Now, yes, you can just pour the orange juice out, but for example's sake, we're not going to do that. You're going to go to the sink, you're going to put the cup under water, and you're going to run clear water into the cup. And it might take a minute, it might take 2, it might take 3, but if you have the power in the fresh water, eventually that water is going to go on top of that inch of orange juice. Then it's going to get underneath the inch of orange juice. And it's a matter of time before all that orange juice rises to the top. It bubbles out and the water and the orange juice that mixed are going to bubble out. And sure, you might have a little orange juice residue in your cup, but it's going to be that water, right? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Your mindset is the same way. When you start your success cycle, when you start it, there's going to be a breakdown. You are going to be combating decades of irrational thoughts, decades of failure, decades of mistakes. You're going to be alone. You're probably not going to have an example of who you want to be, what you want it to look like. You're going to feel like nobody cares about this vision that you see. You have to keep going. It's just like that orange juice in the cup. You have to keep pouring vision into yourself, belief into yourself, confidence in yourself. You have to read all the books, all the podcasts, sign up for courses, sign up for events, go to seminars. You have to do all the things. You have to infiltrate yourself. And it's so important. Again, this is why we talk about it. I don't talk about reading books and listening to podcasts to just, waste your time because you don't have other things to do. Because moments when you need it, it's like an insurance policy, man. They call car accident an accident for a reason, but man, are you ever so grateful that you've got 100, 300 bodily injury when you hurt someone? Okay, sorry, my old insurance talk came up there. But your personal development and your vision and your personal growth, it's the same thing. You don't realize how important it is until you need it. And I am promising you, your success cycle is going to have a breakdown moment. And if it doesn't, you are not on the path to success because success is not a clear path. So every time you throw in the towel, it's because you genuinely don't have the vision. You're not doing the personal development. You don't have the standard in which you conduct yourself. You're not intentional. You don't have parameters around you. There's something that you have control over that you are not doing. But the desire to throw in the towel, oh, honey, that's everybody. That's everybody all the time, all the time. It would be so much easier for me to stop and just go plant my butt on the beach every day. I'd enjoy it, but that's not what I'm called to do. And that's not what you are called to do. You get to walk in growth. You get to walk in expansion. You get to walk in abundance, but you're stopping yourself from getting there. Every time you throw in the towel, you're stopping yourself. I said it before. The quote, June 1st, 2016, I found it and wrote it on my bathroom mirror. Every time I choose to stop, I disqualify myself. That's me. That's a choice. Every time I choose, no one makes that decision for me. No one makes that decision. Oh, but Ashleigh, you don't understand. My whole family came against me. You chose that though. You chose to take the opinions of your family and prioritize them over your goal and your dream. Oh, but the stranger on the internet told me that, what I'm doing is dumb. You chose to bow down to their opinion instead of press forward with your dream. Every time you choose to stop, you disqualify yourself. It's a choice. You are in control. You do not have to throw in the towel. But are you willing to take time to develop that vision? Are you willing to take the time to prioritize your growth? Because you are your biggest problem, but you're also your greatest solution. You are your greatest solution. Don't allow yourself to get to the place that when your emotions supersede and when the irrational thoughts come, that you take yourself out. Don't do that. I mean, my goodness, by the time you're at that level of the breakdown, you've already made it. Like, could you imagine? So go back to my example. I spend 18 months thinking a thought. Then I start acting on it. And then it was the moment I acted on it, it was 7 months later that I was having my breakdown. So 18 months plus 7 months, 25 months. Could you imagine if I wasted 25 months? Because at month 25, when I was having the breakdown, because I'm actually in the thick of it, right? I got over myself and I got in the thick of it, that I threw in the towel. Wow, how much wasted time. And because I spent so much time on the back end thinking and processing and all this stuff, that by the time I got through that breakthrough, you guys, I'm not saying I haven't had breakthroughs that I've had to get through since. I just told you I went through one a couple weeks ago. I walked in a level of expansion of knowing I'll never go back. It was like that first breakthrough that you have to go through in the success cycle. When you're first starting off, it can be so powerful. You can learn so much. And so it accelerated me. It changed the trajectory, right? And so I was able to learn the next success cycle that I had to go through, the next level that I grew. I bounced back a little bit faster. And then I bounced back a little bit faster. And then I put some parameters around and I kept growing every single time. Get through that first one. You have the ability to chase everything that your heart desires, but stop throwing in the towel because you're only hurting yourself. So is that you? Do you keep throwing in the towel? Knock it off, figure yourself out, get a vision, find what motivates you, set those parameters, set those standards, and go chase your dreams because you are worth it. You are not worth starting over all the time. And if you're so frustrated with starting over all the time, stop giving up. So I love you. I'm rooting for you. I believe in you. And let's go change the world together. Until next time, goodbye, my friends.